What is up everyone, it's Jira Bro back with another video. In this video we're gonna be looking at some of the essentials of ScriptRunner for the Jira data center. We are gonna be focused on the console solely, so we're gonna be going through some of the basics of Groovy, understanding the Groovy and some of the essentials of ScriptRunner within the Jira itself. So the very first thing is defining and actually writing to the console. So within the Groovy itself, the Groovy uses the print method, just like in the Python programming language, but for some reason it won't actually output any of the results within the script runner. So what you can actually do is instead you're gonna type in log.warn, for example, and I'm going to say hello. Now within the Groovy itself, you can either choose to add the semicolon on the in the end, or not to add any of the semicolons at all. So within the log itself, I have written out hello. Okay, so then we're gonna be doing some of the variables, for example. So defining the variable, you're gonna be using the def keyword followed by the name of the variable itself. So I'm going to say video, and I'm going to say hello YouTube. I'm going to add the semicolon, and in order actually to call this, I'm going to type in log warn, and within the parentheses I'm going to call this variable video, and there we go, and it's saying hello YouTube. Okay, so the another thing that I actually wanting to show you is how you can actually use this as a placeholder. So for example, in here I'm going to say something like say hi, for example, and then I'm going to add the $sign, and I'm going to add these two bigger brackets, if I can call them like that, and within them I'm going to add video. So you're going to define this placeholder in order to replace this placeholder with the actual value that is defined in here. So when I click on run, and it's saying hi, and it's saying hello YouTube. Alright, so I'm not gonna go through things like if statements, for loops, switch statements and everything like that, because that is more covered, that is more leaning towards the GUI, but we are not actually gonna be doing that. We're gonna be doing the essentials of ScriptRunner for Jira, and that's why I'm actually using the ChatGPT to actually help us out. The first and foremost is going to be your component accessor. So you're going to be using component accessors a lot, especially because, well, you need to access some of the components, and those components, you have like two types, let's say, of components. You have the components that are being defined as managers. There's like issue manager, there is like project manager, there is like user manager, there is like field manager, custom field manager. So all of these things are being used, but these things are being used as placeholders only in order to actually call those variables that are defined that are actually having these component accessors right there. So how do we do this? So the very first thing is, first of all, we're gonna define a variable right here. And a lot of times you're gonna be using and you're gonna be working with issues. So the very first variable that I'm going to define here is going to be issue manager, and what I'm going to be needing is going to be my component accessor. And the moment I select the component accessor, it's adding that class, and it's actually importing this class in here. So I'm having the component accessor, and when I select the dot, I'm going to be presented with all of these things in here. So a lot of stuff like field manager, field layout manager, event type manager, custom field manager. But what you're actually looking at is, first you need to have this variable that is going to be your, let's say, starting building block. So most of the time, so I'm gonna have in here field manager, group manager, issue manager. I'm going to select issue manager. So I have defined issue manager in here, right? And this is what I got. So what can I have next? I have like the definition of issue, and I can call this issue manager, and when I select the dots, I have the operations or things that I can actually do with this issue manager. So there's like to archive the issue. There is also the option like get all issue keys, get the issue by workflow. So all of these things that are actually available. So now what I'm having in here is to get issue, right? And first it's going to be red because I haven't defined the issue that I actually want to use. So I already know the issue. It's going to be this one. And now if I go log and warn and go with issue itself, I click on run. So it's gonna give me all of these things, all of the information about this specific issue. So it's giving me a lot of stuff. So first of all, it's giving me if there was like an archive date, but that archive date, it's null because the issue itself is not archived. Component is null. What actually null means nothing. But when you're actually defining, if you're defining a variable but you're saying that the specific variable has a value of null, it actually means that it's only taking place within the memory itself, but it doesn't have values. So there is also like when it was created, who is actually the creator, what is the description, the due date. So these are actually the fields right here. Priority, and you can also see what is the project, and this is the project ID, resolution, security, and there's also the summary, what is the status, and this is also the ID as well. So yeah, a lot of a lot of stuff in here. So if I actually go with the dots, I don't get a lot of stuff in here. So this is one, and this is actually one example in here. So what else I can get? So I can get, for example, issue counts. Okay, I'm going to say log warn, and I'm going to say issue, and I'm going to say run, and it's saying 42, and this is 42 issues in total. So for all of the projects that I have, it's gonna count all of the issues. This information can actually be quite handy. So I have like get issue counts. What else do I have? So I can go around and I can say, you know what, get issue object in here. Okay, and it's gonna say, okay, it's gonna be, so number 2. All right, and if I go log.warn, now what I have with the issue, when I go with dot, now I get to access a specific information from a field that I want. So if I want to see who was actually the assignee of this specific issue key, the what is the actual issue type, right? So it's gonna say to me, there we go, with this is the issue type of a task, and voila, I get it just like that. What else can I get? So other things like issue type ID, like the key of the issue as well. What is the estimate? Basically a lot of things. With the project, okay, yeah, it's getting the same information that I previously got. Okay, when I was defining it for the very first time. So what else do we have? So we have, for, let's say I only need the description, I'm going to say, you know, updated description is this. And I can say, you know what, description, I can take this, I can cut this, I can put this within the parentheses, I can run it, and it's going to say description, added updated description via ScriptRunner. So that is something that you can do. This is like, for example, for the issue manager. You have also user manager. Component Accessor with get the user manager. And what I can do here is I can define the user. I can go like user manager dot. Okay. And it's gonna say a lot of things actually. This one is really interesting because this right here can generate secure random passwords that you actually might use, because in the data center you can create a user and you can define the password for that specific user. So let's say you want to use that user for some of the integrations that are going to be using, like let's say via the webhooks. And let's say because this is actually possible, you do not need to use the plugin. You can indeed do the integration between the ServiceNow and between the Jira using the webhooks. Of course, it needs to be configured on the ServiceNow side first, and then when it's configured there, then the webhook needs to be created that is getting triggered by the jobs that are being done within the ServiceNow. So that is something different. But watch what happens if I log warn and I say user. It's gonna generate these random letters in here. And this is what is happening each time I'm running this. I'm getting different results. Okay, so this can actually be really, really useful. So yeah, you can generate your own passwords. Okay, so what else do we have in here? So we have a lot of stuff. Okay, so first of all, application user, get user by the name, by the identity of ID is deleted. You can go total user count. You can say it, and it's gonna say total user count, cannot find the method, please check. Okay, get user by name, key, user state, total user count. Okay, log.warn. I'm going to go with the user. And it's saying 1 because that is true, because I'm actually the only one within this whole instance that I'm actually being registered. So that is correct. Okay. What else you can do with this? Well, I have also the get methods in here. With get methods, you have some things. You get the user identity by the name or the by the ID. Okay, so there's something else. Okay, find the index, get meta properties, inspect. No, okay. Application users, can update the user. Total application users, yeah, that is actually pretty handy. Directories. Okay. Has password writable directory. Okay. A lot of choices to go from there. So that is for the user manager. So you're using the component accessors. Component accessors are always going to be there. They're always like gonna be there. They're gonna be following you basically everywhere. This is it. Okay, this is the code. Yeah, so this operator right here, this operator is actually being used. It's this one, so it's the question mark followed by the dot. So this operator is actually being used in order when you have a null null value. It's not gonna print out like an error or something like that. It's just gonna print out the null value. But don't use that. It's gonna be confusing. And then, so for the current user, Jira authentication context and the logged in user. And it's gonna say, this is it. So this is the username. Because in the data center, you're actually gonna have username, and then you're gonna have the email and everything like that, everything else. On the cloud, you have like display name, you have full name, and etc. So those are the differences. So this is how you're actually logging the current user and how the current user is actually being used. Yeah, these are like the essential things that you can use, and you can really get some of the information that is essential to you. But in the upcoming videos, I'm gonna be talking about more updating of the fields. We're gonna be talking about the custom fields. We're gonna be talking about some other things as the time passes. All right, so that is it for this video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel. See ya. Bye.